Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Kenia Caballero, Director of the Security Industry Association Mexico chapter, and I'm truly delighted to have you all here today for our session titled Grow Stronger: How to Expand Your Mexico and LatAm Security Business. Thank you for taking the time to join us, whether you are one of our CM members or joining us for the first time. It's great to see such an engaged audience from across the region. We have an excellent lineup of speakers joining us today, professionals who bring valuable perspectives and first-hand experience in growing security business across Mexico and Latin America. Let me introduce to you Don Erickson, CEO of SIA, Paul Rue, Director of Sales US South Central Region and Mexico at Zenitel, Paola Buenrostro, Show Manager at Expo Seguridad México and Expo Seguridad Industrial as part of RX Exhibitions, Natalia Elias, Sales Executive at RX. Thank you all. Our goal is to provide security industry professionals with strategic insights, market data, and real-world success stories that will empower you and your company to expand your business in Mexico and Latin America as well. You'll gain a deeper understanding of regional opportunities, customer expectations, and how to leverage your participation at Expo Seguridad Mexico to maximize your visibility and growth. If you have any questions during the session, please feel free to post them in the Q&A sections. We will be dedicating the last minutes of this webinar for it, and of course, we will address them toward the end. Once again, thank you for joining us, and let's get started. Hey, Don, do you want to share more with our audience about this partnership we have with RX?
I'm happy to. Kenya, thank you very much for the introduction. And to my fellow panelists, thank you for being a part of this. This is going to be a great conversation over the next 45 minutes or so, because we share this common vision, right, for growing the security industry globally. And I'm often asked by SIA members, what can SIA do to help the companies become more successful, particularly in Latin America? And the short answer to that is participate as an exhibitor in Expo Seguridad. SIA is very proud to be the premier sponsor of Expo Seguridad over the last couple of years, and we're looking forward to being a continued partner in the next few years and hopefully beyond. In fact, I just want to recently share, we extended our arrangement and our partnership with the wonderful team at Expo Seguridad for the next 2 years, and we're committed to growing the member experience at the show with their active involvement and support. In my view, participating in Expo Seguridad, it's really the gateway to doing business in Latin America. So when we talk about SIA being a catalyst for business success, this is a platform. This show and this experience and the conference program is a platform to achieve that success going forward. And I hope you'll take advantage of the information presented today, as well as the opportunity to meet with Paola and Natalia at ISU East, which they'll talk about in a few minutes. So enjoy the program, and I look forward to the conversation.
Thank you so much, Don. So, Paul, do you want to introduce yourself and share more about your experience in Mexico at Expo Seguridad?
Sure, thanks, Kenia. As mentioned, my name is Paul Rux. I'm with Zenitel. We help people add the ability to speak or listen where you have your access control or CCTV. So we're the voice of security. That's what we do. I've been with Zenitel for 20 years. I've had the blessing of covering Mexico for 15 of those years. And Mexico is just something that I love. I am very thankful to be part of this webinar. I'm thankful to be able to share my personal experiences and some successes in the Mexican market that I've learned over the past 15 years covering Mexico. Paul Rux is very passionate about Mexico. I just want to really emphasize that. If I were to give ideas or best practices, if you're thinking of doing business in Mexico or Latin America, the first step is just show up. Make a commitment to be consistent and to realize that Mexico is a relationship market. Don't just go and talk about price, product first. Talk about building relationships. People buy from who they know, like, and trust. And that's something I can say very strongly about Mexico and Latin America. I've personally attended the Expo Seguridad at the Banamex Centro Center for the last 13 years in a row. And so I remember when I went to my leadership and I had an idea. I said, I want to grow the brand and the market for Zenatel solutions in Mexico. And after doing research, I found that the best pond, where does the alligator go to drink water? Well, that happens to be Expo Seguridad Mexico. And with the power of RX and SIA behind it, it is the great sandbox to play in. Um, I'm very blessed to also say that part of myself going to Mexico, we started small. We started with the smallest footprint you could have at the Expo Seguridad, a 10 by 10 booth with just a fold-up table and a couple of chairs and a tablecloth. I'm very proud to say that today we have a very nice, our booth is almost tripled in size. Our attendance has tripled since we first started. We even have other partners that want to share time with us in our booth. It's been a great success. And why is this so? Did I have fears about going to the Expo Security Audit first? We'll talk about some of those in just a second. Did we have any challenges? Well, maybe a couple. We'll talk about those too. But I'll say step one is to show up, be consistent. Zenatel is committed to the Mexico and Latin American market for the long term. We're never planning on going away and walking away from this market because it's so important to us. So, what are some of the common challenges or misconceptions that you might have as a U.S. company wanting to go to Mexico City? One of the fears I had, I'm not going to lie, was maybe the language barrier. I don't speak Spanish fluently, but I speak Spanish culturally. My mother's Hispanic. My wife is from Mexico. My grandmother didn't speak English fluently. So culturally, I took my broken Spanish to Mexico, but I was blessed to say all the 13 years I've been at Expo Seguridad, my wife has attended with me, being my personal translator. If you're blessed to have that in your well, take advantage of that. But many of you in your organizations, maybe in operations, maybe in finance, maybe accounting, maybe sales, probably have someone on your team who's bilingual. I'm blessed that we have teammates in Latin America. My teammate Sergio Mendez, I have to give him a shout out. He's also part of our Zenatel team. But with the help of my wife, with the help of teammates, you probably have someone in your organization that speaks Spanish. If you do, take them to the show. It'll just be a bi-directional learning event. But there are translators in Mexico. They are easy to obtain. RX can help you get the right folks to get in contact with. Do not let language be a barrier of thinking of doing business at Expo Seguridad. It doesn't have to be. In fact, you'll find that if you speak a few phrases in Spanish, the person you're talking with probably will speak Spanish. Sometimes people ask me, and I say this to make you laugh because this is a conversation. People say, Paul, if your mother's Hispanic and your wife's Hispanic, how Hispanic are you? And I tell them this little line in Mexico. I say, on Monday, I have papas con huevo tacos. On Tuesday, I have huevos con huevo. On Wednesday, I have papas y papas. And on Thursday, pues, ¿qué más quieres? Migas. And so they start laughing, we all start laughing, and it just really opens up a warm conversation. What might be another barrier that a U.S. company might think about the market of Mexico? People may think that Mexico is just a low price market where you can just dump product and the cheap products win. That is far from the truth. As I mentioned, Mexico is a relationship market. And so I will stress this, show up, be consistent. People buy from who they know, like, and trust. So the first thing you want to do in Mexico is show up 13 years in a row. The next thing is you want to be consistent, a booth that starts small and keeps growing, and do what you say what you do. Build trust. I believe Mexico is more of a relationship market, even more than it is in the United States. But first, come to Mexico, immerse yourself in the culture, immerse yourself in the people, immerse yourself. It is a great, great place. What might be another opportunity for you in Mexico? That has to do with, well, How will I know what companies to do business with if I want to learn about integrators? We have the SIA organization, who has different committees, healthcare, education, data centers, industry, that can help you. Who are the integrators that go to SIA events? Another good education organization in Mexico is ASIS. They have their chapter meetings there. That's another good way for you to learn who the integrators that are involved and in the game in Mexico. Another idea that I use is to look at the periodical publications, Latin Press, Security Digest magazine, that have the top 100 integrators in Mexico and in Latin America. That is another good way to target select of who's doing business in Mexico. I've had nothing but good things to say about the infrastructure that supports the Expo Seguridad. The RX show has always been there to help us. There's never a time we needed anything that someone wasn't helping us the second that we need it. That's one of the most impressive things that took away my trepidation and my fears when we first started working in Mexico at Expo Seguridad. So don't worry about if you need help with a translator, if you need help with your logistics, if you need help knowing which of the events that they have, like their Latin American breakfast, which is a gateway to Latin America, as Don said earlier on the call. They have excellent networking events at Expo Seguridad. What are our thoughts related to the security growth in Mexico and Latin America? We know what the CAGRs are that Sia is going to mention later today in the webinar. And one of the things that I'll say, and I believe strongly, is that we see this market growing. We see Mexico and Latin America continuing to grow. There's statistics that they're going to cite later on today that talk about by the 2028 that the Mexican market is going to grow the CAGR by $1 billion. I believe this. In fact, I think it's going to be more. And so today, what we're hoping to do is to set the table, is to remind people that Expo Seguridad is the right sandbox to play in. One of the questions people have asked me recently was, well, what are the differences between Expo Seguridad and shows that exist in Latin America? I will tell you from experience that Expo Seguridad Mexico is the largest event by size. It's the largest event by show. It represents all the brands that are very strong in Mexico and Latin America. It absolutely is the right sandbox to bring your business to grow your market. One of the things that we hope from this call of anyone attending this webinar today, if you're with a U.S. company, is don't be afraid to look beyond Mexico. It is a ripe market for growth. If we have more people and more leadership attend the shows with their teams, we strongly feel, I feel, that our market will grow together, our collective brands will grow together, and that's what we're all here for, to help people protect profits, and people. So it's an honor to learn more, but we're going to learn more from the other panelists. And so if there's questions that you have that you're curious about, please ask them. What specific sectors or regions in Mexico are showing the strongest demand for security and technology solutions? Transportation, highway, industry, corporate building, public safety, data centers, and distribution logistics centers. All of these are very strong vertical markets in Mexico. So I look forward to seeing what we're going to learn today, and I hope I've shed a little bit of light on doing business in Mexico, remembering that it's a relationship market. It's not just built on price. Remembering that language does not have to be a barrier. There are people to help and support. Look in your organization and find those people. I will say this, make sure that you have someone in your technical department that is bilingual and that you can call upon. That's one of the things that what companies in Mexico ask. If I need technical support and someone in my team isn't fluent in English, do you have someone in your team that speaks Spanish? We're blessed that we do in my organization, and I work with my teammate all the time. So, Kania, I'll pass it over to you, unless anyone on the panel has a question, or if someone sends a question on the chat. I hope I've shed a little bit of positive light that Expo Seguridad is the right place to be, and SIA and RX are the great two pillars that support it.
So Paul, you as a CM member, I will say there's never been a prouder moment than your enthusiasm shown on this program for Expo Seguridad. So we appreciate that. Let me just build on your comment before we turn to the next panelist and say that for any potential exhibitor meets with Natalia or Paola and signs up. To Paul's point about networking with other executives, we're happy to have you be our guest at the SIA executive reception, which is held the first night of the show, along with the other SIA networking events, which is really, really important. So we offer that as a further incentive to be involved. Thanks.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Don.
And thank you, Paul. Yeah, Don, you just mentioned something that I wanted to say to our audience today is that let us help you. RX, SIA, we're committed to help you. Don't just mention the networking events we organize at SIA. We have the executive reception, we have the Women in Security Forum launch, we have the Rise cocktail, but also, and Paul mentioned it, we have a large group of committees and subcommittees, and keep in mind that we have the International Relations Committee. All of them live or in Mexico or in LatAm, and they will show up at the expo to support you, to address your questions, to help you with your business.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kenya, if I could also add, I mean, Kenya's doing a wonderful job representing SIA in Mexico. And one of her colleagues, Adriana Lopez, who's on the SIA team, who's also bilingual, will be representing SIA at the SIA booth. So in addition to Kenya, Adriana will be at the show. And if you need additional assistance through SIA, that's another resource for you as well.
Yep, Adriana is gonna join us this year. Thank you, Don. And Paul, I was taking my notes. Very valuable things you mentioned here. Show up, relationships, be consistent. Don't let language be a barrier. And let me tell you a secret. Us Mexicans, we appreciate, we value a lot when you try to say even a word in Spanish. Like, you don't have to speak the perfect Spanish here. We appreciate, and our culture is very warm. We like to, exactly, we like to say hi to people from all countries. So don't feel shy about it. Don't feel bad about it. That's one of the things I always listen. Oh, my English is terrible. No, no, no. My Spanish is terrible. No, no, no. We don't. We appreciate you trying or making an effort. You also mentioned, Paul, people buy from who they know, and please keep this in mind. If you're now considering attending Expo Seguridad with your booth, and you want to meet someone, let us know. Perhaps we know someone in that team that we could introduce you, or perhaps introduce you at one of our networking events. I'm always more than happy to make those connections. Tech support, super, super important, Paul. I think this is right. Someone that speaks Spanish, that's always super helpful here. And after what Paul mentioned, I want to now invite Paola to share. Paola, you talk to a lot of people in the industry. We presented the Mexican assessment for security at the RX offices. So, what do you want to share with the people that are here today with us about the Mexican market? I don't know.
Thank you, Kenya. Before, I would like to say thank you for your words, Paul. It's great to know that your experience in the event has been so good. Thank you for your words, and Kenya and Don. We appreciate a lot your support with the event, with this connection that we try to do with American companies. And then I'm delighted to present our event. I'm confident that we have the opportunity to share more detailed information soon, if you want more information, of course. But for now, I'd like to share some key figures about the event. I would like to let you know some numbers about our event. Expo Seguridad Mexico is the largest security event in Latin America, attracting 18,000 visitors and 420 exhibitors, with 21 conferences and sessions and SIA certified education. It connects vendors with integrators, distributors, and government buyers. The exact stakeholders driving Mexico, they obviously is going to be in the event. Our audience profile, I would like to talk something about that, is decision makers, including corporate security directors, integrators, and government officials. We have a very good participation of government offices in our event. Exhibitors present in our event highlight solutions in high growth sectors, transportation, commercial, and government. After live demos, we offer live demos in the event. You can see, for example, an area for drones. Another area that we have new in this year is about experiences for the visitors. And we are going to have 2 new sections in the event. One dedicated to FAR, another dedicated to safety in machinery. It's going to be very, very interesting to see that. We have another thing that I would like to comment with you are 3 important things that I want you to know. We have dedicated customer service team, a very specialized team in service that they are gonna help you in everything you need about your participation, about things related with exhibition, but with Mexico in general. We can recommend, as Paul said, a very good agency for interpreters, for people that help you with your general organization inside the event. And we work with a specialized travel agency. It's important you know that, because we are going to have next year the event 1 week before the football mundial. Then you are going to, it's advisable to arrange your trip as soon as possible if you are thinking in coming to Mexico for Expo Seguridad. I would like to tell you that we have special proposals for you, commercial proposals. I would like to ask Natalia talk to a little more about these proposals.
Thank you, Paola. So
Okay.
I'm Natalia Elias. Been with ADEX for a number of years, been working the show for a number of years. I'm based in Connecticut in the US. So I've been lucky to work with the Cenitel team, which I absolutely adore. They're the best team to work with. We've been doing wonderful things together. So what I want to talk about, ways that you can participate at the show. We do have inclusive packages that it has all the digital tools that you will need with your basic package. We can obviously have conversations, talk about what your goals are for the show. We have an array of possibilities, things that we can do for you to have a strong event. Anything that is thought leadership, brand awareness, lead generations. We have a number of ways that we can help you achieve your goals. What Paola was talking about, we have a new dedicated area in the show floor for new exhibitors. So if you're brand spanking new, want to come and try the show, this is an excellent entry package, but it's not so simple. It's complete. It has all the digital tools. It already comes with a fully branded stand, and it would allow you to get your foot in the door, to get you in the show, test it out, try it out, and see all the wonderful things that we do with SIA in Mexico, with the show. I think it's great exposure. And a good opportunity to be able to come in, like Paul said, you start small, but then you grow every year. And the idea is to grow together, help you grow.
Thank you, Natalia.
All strong
Um,
points, Natalia. And one of the things I'll say that when I first came to the show in the early days, I was so happy that I didn't have to go to them. They would come check on me all the time. Paul, how's the show going? Paul, do you need any help? And it's never waned. Even though I consider myself a veteran of the show, I think you know, Natalia, that I know where things are at, but you still come check on us. So I want all the U.S. companies to know that you will be supported by RX, by CIA, and by Expo Seguridad. It's a great event.
Yeah, so Paul, let me build on that for a second and say, I think that what makes RX unique with events, and Natalia's an example of it with Expo Seguridad, but also IC West and IC East, that's part of the fabric of the RX teams, right? It's the customer service, that hands-on approach. I often talk about that. It's a differentiator with competing shows, is the attention that an individual, regardless of what size you have, your footprint on the show floor, you can be a 10 by 10, you can be much larger. I've seen it firsthand, and I hear from members all the time about the individual attention they receive through Natalia, which is wonderful feedback, as well as other teams for the other shows under ISC umbrella. The one thing I want to just following up with what Natalia said and going back to a point Paul made, Paul talked about showing up, right? What I would like to say is speak up, because the packages are very appealing that Natalia is describing and alluding to. But what I also know about the RX teams, suggest things, right? They're very, very open. Maybe some things can or cannot be accommodated, but they're going to listen to you. So the starting point be, don't be daunted by, well, I'm not sure I can afford a package or what have you. Just come to the table. I mean, reach out and contact Natalia, come to ISC East, Paola. That's so speaking up and asking what the possibilities are is just as important as showing up.
Thank you, Don. That's exactly right. And it's really about putting a package together that will help you achieve your goals. I have your best interest in mind. You know, what is it that is going to take for you to be successful at the show? And it's a conversation. I need to hear you out, and understand what your needs are. And we will be able to provide, in one way or another, something that would allow you, to have a presence, and in a very good presence, presented nicely, and say, here we are, we're ready to do business, and we're ready for the market.
Mhm.
Thank you, Natalia. So for everyone, I'm gonna share Paola and Natalia's information here. In case you want to contact them and get to know more details about next year's edition. Please also keep in mind that if you're planning on visiting Mexico for the expo, we just today we're gonna open the call for papers. So you can also be you can be an exhibitor, but you can also send us your proposal for the CA education program. Paola has the contacts you need in case you need, like as they mentioned, like translation. They already have an agency. Natalia is here as well to support you. Paul shared with you his experience in Mexico and in the expo. Don mentioned the important things to keep in mind if you show up. And I think, unless anyone wants to add something here, but we have one question in the
So
chat.
Kenya, before you get to that question, I want to make sure the audience who's listening now and will listen later is aware of the market report that CIA produced in partnership with Omdia several months ago. It's still a very relevant report. We've had a number of key executives from around the industry endorse the data found within the report, which describes a very exciting compelling, and positive outlook for investment and security in Mexico and Latin America. So as you're evaluating these opportunities, you can very easily convince yourself by looking at the data that's very objective about how strong the market looks in Mexico going forward, as you keep in mind Paul's excellent commentary about this is a relationship business, etc. Taking those two hand in hand, I think, are real keys to success.
Just to add something about this report, we also mentioned, and the document addresses the how much is the equipment versus services going to grow in the next 3 years. The most relevant verticals in Mexico, the way of doing business in Mexico. So if you're really planning on attending the expo, take some minutes, read the report as Don mentioned, and you will find some interesting data that would also help you to having these conversations or getting a lay of the land of how is Mexico in terms of in the security industry. So
one final point, there may be some listeners and executives with potential exhibitors who are going to find this to be a very helpful, enlightening program, but they still need to think about it further, right? And so to the extent that they have representatives, sales representatives or business development representatives covering the Latin American market, one of the things we can share is SIA does do a number of networking events, not just in the US, but as Paul mentioned, but also in Mexico, that are called SIA There networking events that are free to members, non-members. The RX team has been to some of them. That's also an opportunity to talk to partners who are involved in the show or potential partners, to Paul's point, to become a little more comfortable with the culture and the experience. So Kenya, I think when we send the recording out, we'll definitely provide a link for people to learn more about SIA Theirs and hopefully attend one to learn more about the show going forward.
absolutely then. Great. Should we jump now into the question we have in the chat?
Sure.
Awesome. So one of the questions is, how challenging are Mexican regulations to comply with when it comes to data protection? I think GDPR for UK and other certifications.
Well, related to, well, go ahead, Paula.
Thank you, Paul. I would like to say that if your requirements are according with the USA regulations, in other way, it's going to be in the same way in Mexico. The standards in Mexico are based in USA the standards. Then, if they are compatible, they without any problem is gonna be possible to sail in Mexico.
I will say this related to regulations. One of the things you want to be aware of are non-compliance. And so that's a topic that will be discussed in Mexico. And so another is cybersecurity. One of the things that I'm very, very impressed with, when I first thought, when they asked me, Paul, we want you to cover Mexico. When I first covered Mexico, I was wondering, well, how strong does Mexico look at cybersecurity? Mexico is just up to speed with everything related to cyber. It's something very, very strong that needs to be talked about. So be prepared to have a hardening guide. Be prepared to talk about what your cyber security solutions are. But you will not have a problem, as Paula said. But just be aware, and when you need the help for questions like that, there are people on this panel that can help guide you in the right direction to go.
Thank you so much. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them into the Q&A icon. We have a couple more minutes. And in the meantime, I would like to ask something. the group. Sorry, my English today is terrible. From perhaps this is for you, Paul. But from your perspective, why is now a strategic moment for US companies to expand or establish a presence to show up in the Mexican security market?
Well, I think that from the CAGR, the compound annual growth numbers, the $1 billion by 2028 that has been thrown out there, the markets that I see are the strongest in Mexico, whether they be the transportation and highway, whether they be Tren Maya, or whether it be data centers, or distribution and logistics with all of the international business. Mexico has the vibrant markets that are in the U.S. They're just there across the border as well. And I often tell some of my sales team members is when we're doing business in Texas, there's a lot of large Fortune 500 companies in Houston and in Dallas and in San Antonio. How many of them have operations in Mexico and Latin America? And so you'll find that you may want to ask some of your, if you're global companies, ask your folks that are doing business with Fortune 500, Fortune 50 companies in the U.S., where are their operations in Mexico? Like for instance, we do Toyota Center in San Antonio and in Plano, Texas at their plants. Well, we do the Maquiladoras in Mexico City también. And so Mexico is a vibrant market for many of the vertical markets that you're already doing business with. So your subject matter experts take that subject matter expertise across the border to the Expo Seguridad and find new opportunities, new conversations, and new wins. I will also say that the Expo Seguridad is an excellent sandbox, not only to learn about Mexico integrators, but you'll see prestigious end users from Banco de Mexico, from Expo Security, from Tren Maya, from all the different Grupo this and Grupo Carso that, and all the, you'll see all the conglomerates. You'll see the right government C5 officials. They're walking around. And so, if not only is it a chance to meet the people that put the systems in, but you'll have a chance to meet the people who use the systems. And so, it is a vibrant sandbox. In fact, it's just as strong or as vibrant as ISC West. Very similar, and it is a good sandbox to start new opportunities.
So Paul, let me follow that up by saying two things. So one of the comments made earlier was about regulatory requirements. Two things I'd like to suggest. One is a great resource for companies to look at this market and participate. U.S. Commercial Service. So with the government shutdown now resolved in the U.S., federal employees getting back to work, give it a few days, but U.S. Commercial Service is a very reputable agency within Department of Commerce that can give advice to companies of all sizes about the market and requirements in Mexico. Secondly, I'd like to offer, so following this program, provided we get a certain number of companies to sign up, at least with interest, C would be happy to sponsor perhaps a 2-hour legal session. We could use our firm, Venable, or a firm in Mexico, just very high level for prospective exhibitors to ask questions to lawyers about the market and entry requirements in Mexico, just as a value add and a service. So if you're a CM member or not a CM member, but to support the show, we're happy to offer that. And we'll see what the interest level is in it, but look for more details on that, hopefully.
Thank you, Don. That would be helpful for others. That'd be a very good idea, and good job.
Great.
Perfect. So I think you don't have any more questions. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We hope that you found this session insightful, valuable for your business strategy in Mexico and Latin America. The recording of the webinar is going to be available soon in the SIA MX LinkedIn page. So feel free to revisit and share it with your team. Don't forget, if you're planning on attending, participating in Expo Seguridad next year, make sure to reach out to Paola, to Natalia, and secure your space and maximize your company's visibility.
And
Once again, thank you for being part of this conversation, for your continued engagement with SIA and SIA Chapter Mexico. We look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you so much, and thank you, Natalia, Paul, Paola, Don, for joining us.